Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Start of 10 here at Bookham Baptist Church. My name's Neil Casey. I am hosting this morning, and Start of 10 is something that we do every week here at Bookham Baptist. You're very welcome. We'll love having you join us online. And I have Giles with me.
Good morning,
Giles.
Morning, Neil.
And Dan. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, Neil.
And what we do every week on Start of 10 is that we ask ourselves a question to ponder, and we want you to ponder it too, and to give us your input online. Giles will be following our online chat this morning, and at some point later on, we will see what people are saying and see what stories they're sharing with us this morning. Now, our question today is, when have you paid too much for something? So, Giles, when have you paid too much for something?
Well, there's a fairly new story, Neil and Dan, that I can share, which was about last night. I was driving out of London. We'd been to see a family event, and I just clipped a curb with my car, and then a few minutes, less than a few minutes, a few seconds later, it was like, and it was like, oh, okay, I've got a flat tire. We were near the McDonald's at Battersea, if people know roughly where that. And I was thinking, I could probably just get there. The kids had said they needed the toilet, and it was all getting a bit stressful. And I thought, no, I can't drive that far. You know, it was only a mile, but I can't drive that far. So I pulled over, and eventually raised some help to do a 24-hour, emergency tyre repair thing. Because everything around here, if we got towed to here, was shut today probably. So got that, and then I paid quite a lot of money for a tyre. It was a budget tyre, so it wasn't even a top-notch tyre. Budget tyre, but fair play. The bloke turned up, middle of a rain. It was raining, and we did walk along the river to McDonald's while we were waiting, so the kids were able to go to the loo. We got some food, and we made the most of it, really. But yes, paid a lot of money for that tyre.
And you made it home, and you're here today to tell the story.
Yeah, it
something
could have
good
been
came
worse.
out of it.
And I've got a story to tell.
Exactly.
So it's always good to have
your wallet is a little bit lighter.
It is a little bit lighter.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Dan, how about you? When have you paid too much for something?
The time the most recently I can think of that I paid too much for something was I recently paid £4 for a macaron. Macarons, the little French colourful biscuits. We've been arguing this morning whether it's a biscuit or a cake. But basically, I was expecting the best flavour sensation that I ever tasted when I put this thing in my mouth. And it was fine. It was all right. It was not £4 worth of biscuits. If you equate that by kind of weight of biscuit, I could have bought 2 big packets of like the Sainsbury's big cookies, 4 per packet, really good, triple chocolate, amazing. Or 4 packets of Bourbons. It's not okay.
Really I can tell you're very upset. You're feeling very passionate about this, and
getting all riled up.
You are. Okay, maybe we should move on. My story actually is food related as well, and we were on holiday as a family a few years ago. Our boys were a lot younger then, and we decided we wanted to go out for a meal. So we went to a restaurant, and we were looking through the menu, particularly looking at the children's portions of the menu, because the boys weren't old enough really to have an adult meal by then. And so we decided, right, meatballs and pasta, safe option. So we ordered that for the boys, and waiting for our meal, waiter turns up and presents this measly plate of pasta and meatballs. There were something like 10 or 12 bits of macaroni and 3 minuscule-sized meatballs. And
it's no good for growing boys.
We had you're right, it's no good for growing boys. We had a bit of an interchange with the waiter, who was fairly adamant that that's what's on the menu, that's what you're going to get. It was an argument we weren't going to win, so we ended up paying the bill. We ate the food, we paid the bill, we moved on, but we did resolve never to go to that restaurant again, and we never have.
I think you're justified there.
I think, yes. I'm feeling pretty justified.
Yes,
Thanks,
you bring
Dan.
your own meatballs.
Feeling pretty justified. So we want to hear your stories, your responses to that question. When have you paid too much for something? Do put that into the online chat.
Yeah.
Giles will be collecting those for us, and we'll hear from them a little bit later on. Now, one of the things that we do as a bit of a tradition here at Starter for 10 is that we have a song, and as we're in the run-up to Christmas, we've been focusing in the run-up to Christmas on some of our favourite Christmas carols, Slightly alternative versions, I have to say. We have some very talented young men in the church who are musicians, and we're going to see a little snippet of one of their carols right now. One of my favourites, Hark the Herald, and yes, it might not be how you have remembered it. This is a jazz version of Hark the Herald, so let's enjoy that together, shall we?
There's a few things, yeah.
Pleased as man with man to dwell. Jesus our Emmanuel. Hark the herald angels sing. Glory to the newborn King. Hail the heaven-born Prince of Peace. Hail the Son of Righteousness. Light and life to all he brings, risen with healing in his wings. Mild he lay his glory by, born that man no more may die. Born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Really enjoyed that version of Hark the Herald.
You might have seen videos like this before, but here's the big secret. Anyone can make one of these videos in a few minutes. You might think you need a professional animator or to learn some fancy editing program, but that's not the...
But the guys did a great job there. And Giles, while we were listening to Hark the Herald, have people been responding to our questions this morning?
We've got some good stories. Our very own Phil Hawkins couldn't quite get the currency rate right in Tunisia once and paid a rather whopping £15 for a bunch of grapes. Ooh, ouch. And another story, Liz Featherstone, they bought a house just before the property crash in 2008, so they were paying at top of the market, and it obviously depreciated rather rapidly a few years later, a number of people in that position. But they did a lot of work on it, and actually the end of the story is quite good in that they were able to get their money back and were able to...
I feel bad about complaining about my biscuit now, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
a tough situation turned round. So that's probably another question there for a future start of a 10. When did circumstances turn around for the better?
Indeed.
Fantastic.
Thank
you very much for that, Giles. Do keep sharing your stories. We'll have probably one more check-in before at the end of this morning. Now, what we do on Start of a 10 every week is that we have something called High Five. That gives our Dan Commandeur this week, who is going to be speaking at our church later on this morning. It gives him an opportunity to just give us some highlights of what he's going to be sharing with us. So let's sit back, relax, and enjoy High Five. Just a jingle.
right, good stuff. For High Five this morning, I'm going to be sharing with you a really interesting bit of technology. And I've actually brought myself a prop here today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a scientist and a Christian, and I love engineering. So I'm going to show you something, and I'm going to hopefully get Neil's help being my beautiful assistant in holding it for me.
Well, hopefully I can be your assistant. I don't know about the beautiful bit, but we'll give it a go. Wow, can we see that? We got that on camera? That is amazing.
Lovely. Okay, here we have a Stirling engine, and basically what you're seeing here is the conversion of heat into work energy. So basically this engine works on an operation of a temperature difference between a high temperature, there's hot water in the cup.
Yes,
your hand is okay.
There is hot water in the cup.
Neil can confirm. And a cold temperature on the top, which is room temperature. The interior cylinder is sealed, so basically when the air is warmed up, the pressure increases. That drives this little piston up. And then when the temperature, basically when the piston is drawn upwards, this displacer in the bottom basically forces the air to rise to the top, which then allows the air to be cooled by the top plate, which then allows the repeating of the cycle after that. So the air is going from bottom to be heated up to the top, pushed back down again, and the piston is rotating, and then the motion is all applied to this flywheel. So why am I showing you this lovely piece of engineering? First of all, despite how elegant and wonderful it is, it's actually only about 40% efficient with its energy transfer. So basically you lose 60% of that energy.
I'm going to put this down now, Danny,
Okay.
if that's okay.
This is the first injury I think we might have acquired from
No,
High
we're all
five.
good. We're all
That's
good. Carry on.
That's good. And basically, the thing that I'm going to be talking about this morning in my sermon is the fact that God paid a really high price for the ransom of Israel, just like how we pay a high price for our energy. And there's actually this law, it's the second law of thermodynamics, which basically means that we cannot make an engine that is 100% efficient. We cannot get there. So every piece of electricity that we generate, solar panels, power stations in our cars, it's all generated with great losses. And just like the great payment that God paid for the ransom of Israel. I think that's all I have to say about that.
That is fantastic. Really love that. Really love that. Thanks, Dan. And I hadn't realised that actually it's not possible to, humanly possible, as it were, to make something which is 100% efficient. So there is always a cost to be paid for pretty much everything that we need.
Absolutely.
And there you go. You were saying, well, actually, God has paid that cost.
That's right.
God has paid a cost for us. That is absolutely fantastic. Giles, any responses to the third? What was it? The third law
The
of
second law of thermodynamics.
the second law of thermodynamics. Wow.
No additional comments, but no, it's a great idea, isn't it? That there is always the price to pay a little bit for whatever we might do with our lives, and then it's great to know we've got someone who's paid that price for us in Jesus, which is amazing. So yeah, I look forward to hearing more, Dan, later.
Wonderful, thanks.
Yeah, Dan will be joining us a little bit later on, around about 11 o'clock. If you want to connect with us on our YouTube channel, Dan will be sharing more. I suspect there's probably another couple of experiments that you might be doing this morning. Is that right, Dan?
Maybe some fires involved.
Maybe some fire involved. Ooh. So there you go. There's a real incentive to join us at 11 o'clock. But before we close down from Start of 10, Giles, anything else from our online community?
We're all quiet today. So
okay. Good. Well, thank you very much for joining us here at Start of 10. Before we leave you, I just want to invite you to come along. If you're in the area, you're very welcome to nip round the corner and see us in church. We have our carol services happening on the 19th, so please do check in for that. Sunday the 19th, we've got 2 carol services. We would love to see you at our carol services here. And then finally, do come and join us again at 11 o'clock and join us next week for Start of 10. Thank you so much for being with us. Bye for now.